So, the judging format of Schnagelfechten should be pretty familiar then, I think, for everybody here. A little bit, yeah. A few adjustments here and there, yeah. We're really talking about the overall format of judging, why judging and judging as a training mechanism in your school is important. It should be developed. It's something you can work on and you should work on both culturally for your school, but also, as in your own skill set. So, for example, when we talk about judging at a HEMA, what immediately comes to mind? Like, what are your individual personal feelings as far as how judging and HEMA events go? What's that? Okay, it's not great, right? Who here has been a judge at a HEMA? Do you take offense to that? That maybe people think that judging wasn't great? It's not personal, right? Because you kind of agree. It's like, well, yeah. Right. So us improving and upping the skills at events, we all kind of feel that buy-in, right? We want to both increase our own skill set, but also increase the culture of the community's skill set overall. We want to go to events that have better judging. We want to feel comfortable at events that the judges, the referees know what they're doing, they know what they're looking for, they're familiar with the general rules of fencing and the expectations of what you're doing, that everybody can be comfortable, have a good time, and it be positive. How do we get there is the question, because this has been the same problem for going on at least 10 years that I know of. This has been a problem since HEMA really began. How do we get there? Any thoughts? Rule standardization, is that what you mean? Okay, that might help. The what, dude? Electronics. We're not doing that, but yes, that might help. Taking the human element out of it, yeah, using electronics instead. What else?
Developing an eye for it.
Huh?
Developing an eye for it.
Yes, absolutely. An eye for fencing, or like fencing IQ, right? Knowing what you're looking for, knowing what the expectations of the fight are, knowing what's valid, what's invalid. That is a challenge. That's a challenge to do even when it's just you and the other person fencing, right? Much less if you're a third party on the outside looking at. What specifically, how does that benefit you becoming a good judge? Because really, we all just want to fight, right? We all want to fence. That's what we're here for. We didn't really sign up to be judges, especially when it's a thankless job. You're not getting paid for it. There's not a whole lot of benefit personally for it. Where is the personal investment? What are you getting out of it?
Just ensuring that it's judged fairly.
It's fair. It's good for the people who paid money to be here, your friends, your compatriots, your enemies, mortal enemies. Good karma, right? How else does it help? Yes, sir.
You're just enriching like the sport as a whole, really.
Absolutely, right? The general culture of the event and HEMA as a whole, right? Good judging, professional standardization, like you're talking about in that respect, can help with that. What else though? We briefly mentioned it a moment ago.
You're raising the bar. Like, more people that are good at judging is going to mean that more people are going to get better at judging.
Yeah, right. We're all ships rise with the tide, right? We're all getting better in that respect. There's something else very particular that happens when you become a good judge. What else is happening? Yes, but why? Who are the best judges? Let's put it that way. Do you think the best fencers are the best judges?
Yes and no. Yes, perceptive.
Most perceptive.
Right.
What if I told you that it goes the other way around too, right? Training yourself to have a good eye, like we were talking about for fencing, it's a skill set, right? Knowing what it is that you're looking at, having that observational awareness, looking at it from the outside, turning on a YouTube video or something, right? Watching that video and being able to analyze really quickly what these two fencers are doing, tactically what they're using against each other, who's probably winning overall. You've all met people like that that, you know, maybe have that skill set, or you have some of that skill set yourself. Judges have to have that the best. They have to be the best at it. The better they are at it, the better they are as a judge. That is just fencing IQ in general. Doing it as an observation is something that tangentially, it improves your fencing. So, if you know to become a better fencer, I need to become a better judge. By becoming a better judge, I improve the quality of events. Then why do we not have better judging and HEMA events?
Because everybody has a different concept or idea of what effective good fencing is.
Yeah, I mean, there's some differences in perception in what, you know, we're all looking for, or the culture that we grew up in or were trained in.
I've seen quite a few events where, let's just say, something doesn't happen picture perfect as it does in the manuscript, but you're definitely dead.
Yeah.
And it's like almost overlooked because it didn't look beautiful.
Right.
But the person was definitely gone.
Yeah.
You know?
What else?
Just to kind of get the question again, which is like, why aren't people more often trying to become better judges?
Yeah.
I guess with the risk of sounding rude, most people are self-focused rather than community-focused.
That's true. But again, like we talked about, the self-investment is that if I know that
Right.
I can potentially become a better fencer just by watching fencing and becoming very, very good at watching fencing, then why don't we have better judges? It's boring, it's thankless, nobody's getting paid, right? There are reasons. But also, I think it's because we have not taken the time to develop standardization in our community, and we have not taken the time to go through and build practice sessions, real training processes within our school to help elevate that bar that you're talking about. Who here has done practice judging within their club, group, school? Who here has done practice judging in preparation for a tournament? I know you did. Okay, yes. So, great. Who here, though, has done it because you do that every Saturday? Right.
Is
Every other Saturday. I think that counts perfectly. That's still probably 10 times more than everybody else does. We know just through experience, right? The more we do it, the better we're going to get at it. It makes you a better fencer. It puts tests your skills, especially if you're doing it in a non-competitive environment, right? Why don't you two come over here real quick? I trust you not to stab each other in the face. You got the camera on you watching. Just bind. Move around. Don't hit each other, please. Oh, yeah. Stop. Okay. Relax. Who is winning? How do we define winning, right?
The goal, as stated by you, was to bind. He had the bind more often.
He had the bind more often. What bind did he have more often? He had the overbind more often. So who is winning?
And the one in control of the
The
overbind.
one in control of the overbind, right? This is the fencing knowledge that we're talking about, right? This skill set, this ability to just observe. They weren't hitting each other. They're not moving in a competitive way. They really were just trying to demonstrate, right? But, they're still kind of trying to get one up on each other a little bit. Charles was being nice because we both know that he's Italian and that would just crush anything Derek was trying to do. He has to rein himself in. He has to pull it back to 10%. But that being said, even in that small observation, the discussion piece alone is invaluable. And you may find that you do this in class, and this is just a natural part of your class, that you talk about it, you review what it is the fencers were doing, but doing it in sparring, in something that's a pseudo tournament, has incredible benefits for the class and the culture as a whole. I'm going to give you a couple examples so we're not just talking this whole time. Give me something that these two can do that is not going to get somebody hurt competitively.
Rock, paper, scissors.
With swords. Let's make it simple. Come over here. Sarah. So, I need a judge. Everybody's here's going to be a judge, but just for example's sake, I need one judge. You? Okay, what's your name? Devin? Excellent. Stand right there, Devin. We're going to keep the fencers in frame. Again, imagine the camera right here. They're trying to be stage left, stage right for the camera. Even when they move around, the camera wants to move with them, which means what? That the officials should move with them, right? We need to keep them in frame. You need to keep them stage left and right the whole time. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. Devin is going to tell us who wins. Here's the game. The game is their goal is to reach out and touch each other with the offhand on their chest. Whoever can do that wins. Okay? You can only move 25% speed. You cannot hit each other with the weapons. You have to touch each other on the chest with your offhand. Ready? Ready, Judge?
Ready?
Engage. Halt. Halt. Corners, please. Raise your hand if Charles won. Raise your hand if Derek won. Raise your hand if you're not sure. Okay. Why did Charles win?
I was only judging on first touch, first faces.
Okay, good observation. Why did Derek win? He touched the chest. Did Charles touch the chest? Okay. How many judges do we have in this room right now? 20? Do we have a consensus? Did Charles win? Did Derek win? You can, but keep in mind in a scenario with a referee and a judge, you can. You've given your opinion. That was your vote. You cast your vote. That's it. Right? Let's do it again. Let's all pay attention. Let's watch what it is we're watching for, and let's see it again. Ready? Same thing. Engage. Oh! Corners, please. Judge? Okay. Keep in mind, judges, you've now been influenced. But besides that, who here thinks Charles won? Who here thinks Derek won? So, we've proven this point, right? Even though I told you ahead of time exactly what was going to happen, even though I told you that fencing observationally increases your skill and your perception and even potentially your ability to fence, that first time we did it, even though you all know the rules, nobody could be certain what it is that happened. But the very next time that we practiced it, time number 2, we all came to a consensus, right? This tells us if we apply that, and this is a simple game, right? Fencing is way more complex than that. There are so many factors that happen, right? They're moving way faster, way more dynamic, way more dangerous, all kinds of variables in play, much harder to focus on. Do you think that the third time we do it will be even better than the second time?
No. Might be just as good or better.
We've hit peak. You can only go down from here.
Same game, maybe.
If we're playing the same game, if the standard is the same, and we know what we're looking for, we will be successful. If I change the variable right now, people will not understand the game, they will not understand what they're looking for, different people will have different strategies, maybe it'll get unfocused, we won't be exactly framed where we can see. Again, if we know the parameters of the field, we can plan for it, we've experienced it, we've done it, we're better at it, right? Preparation, just like in fencing, preparation is key. I'm like telling everybody stuff they already know. Let's change the game, just for fun. Even though we've already kind of revealed the secrets. Charles will win. Anything I think of, Charles is gonna win. What does that say about you? Sure, okay. He's over here.
Amphibious.
Okay. Touch each other on the foot with the sword. Ready?
Oh.
Engage. Corner. Who thinks Charles won? Who thinks Derek won? Who thinks nobody won? So we're kind of split, right? Let's try again. Same thing. Well, I say we're split. The only person that thought Charles won was him. Sorry, Charles. Ready? Ready, Judge?
Ready.
Engage. Who thinks Charles won? Who thinks Derek won? Who thinks it was a double? Who thinks nobody won? Who's uncertain? Okay, so let's get back to it. So it's important to learn to judge. It's important to learn these skills. We can kind of see some of these skills in motion now. What is it specifically we need to do to go through and get good at it? The answer is, we've already talked about, is to do what? To practice, right? Just like anything else. To practice, especially with the rules and the parameters of the game that you're going to be practicing for, right? If I take a referee that does hockey, and I take him and I put him on a soccer field, are hockey and soccer similar? Do they have, you put the puck in the goal, you put the ball in the goal, there's people standing in the way? Yeah, there's similarities. Is that going to be a good referee for the other game? No. Even if he has all those skills that he took with him from the other game into this one, probably not going to be a good referee, right? That's frequently the case in fencing too. I think Devin is a fantastic fencer. I think Devin was a fantastic judge in our last event. I asked Devin to come and judge for this current event. What's the chance that Devin's any good at it, right? We're kind of rolling the dice. What is it contingent on, usually? What do you think it is, Devin? Are you going to be prepared? Practice of the rules of the what?
Of that tournament?
Yeah, the event you're going to, right? The rules, the standards, the whatever you're going to. Sometimes it's hard to know, but I think it's very important to organize, just like sparring, to organize nights that you are doing judging, referee training. For example, I'm going to stay in as the ref, but thank you, Devin, I need 2 other judges. Thank you, right there. And you? Okay. I'm the ref, you 2 are the judges, okay? I want also, who else can judge?
Both sides.
You want to judge? Stand behind him. Who else?
If he cuts aside from this side, and I can see his cut,
Stand behind him. here's the trick, judges. These people behind you are your seconds. What they're doing, they're just looking to make sure that you are judging for the right things. Okay? You get a pass or fail grade based on your judge's perspective behind you. You guys are the overseers. You're watching your judges and determining if they're doing a good job. That's all you're doing. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. Judges, do you understand what it is you're doing? Sort of?
Yes.
Yes? We're playing the foot tag game again. Does somebody else want to play foot tag? Charles is too good at it. Okay, we'll let him keep going. Everybody else is clear to Charles. Ready? We're going to do this for real this time. Scoot back. Right. Fencers, are you ready? Judges, are you ready? Engage. Judges, put your heads down. Judges, I want you to raise your hand for the fencer you think scored. If you don't think anything happened, just keep your hands down. Ready? Judges. Okay. Who thinks Derek scored? Anybody? Who thinks Charles scored? Okay. What really happened? It's a double. Okay. Fighters ready. Judges ready. First round, engage. Oh, corners, please. Judges. Overseers, did your judge pass? No? Did your judge pass? Look, I meant after the halt. After I said halt, he didn't look. He was still looking. Okay. So, this particular game, everybody observing, what is it that we're really doing? The game of foot tag doesn't matter as much as what? What is it we're doing? What? Building an eye for it. You're building an eye for it in the judges, right? What are these two people that are watching the judges doing? We're not really sure, right? What do we think they're doing?
Making sure the judges are doing their job.
Right. Which is teaching them what?
What kind of strikes can be seen?
Yeah. What can be seen, it's teaching them how to judge better, it's making them pay attention to what it is that the judges should be doing, holding themselves accountable to it. Thank you, judges, you did terrific. Round of applause for our judges. All right, overseers. Congratulations, overseers, you are now our judges. And I need two people to be their overseers.
I'll be the overseer.
Oh, you're good, you're good, you're good. Good. And good. Go ahead. Stand behind this. Overseers, come in. Okay, fencers come in. Fencers come in. Ready? Same game. Fighters, are you ready? Ready. Judges, are you ready?
Ready.
First round, engage. Corners, please. Top score? Okay. Overseers, did your judge pass?
All but one.
All but one. Judge or overseer?
First two criteria, the third criteria.
Okay. Tell him what the criteria was that he missed.
You didn't keep your head. You didn't put your head down.
Same. Okay. So, why are we doing that? Why are we putting our head down when we call halt? Why is that important?
Avoiding bias.
Avoiding bias. There are two types of bias that happens in judges. Active bias, passive bias. What do I mean? What do you think I mean by active bias?
Peer pressure.
Friends, peer pressure. How come? What kind of peer pressure? Like how so? Oh, who said that? You said that? Devin. Booze? Oh. Wow. This is exciting. What? Booze? How? Like negativity from the crowd? From who else? Coaches, the other fighter, right? Negativity, animosity, right? Nepotism that happens in the fight. Have you ever been in an event where you felt like that was happening? Do you think, in retrospect, maybe that was just you? Or you're sure it was happening?
I wasn't fighting.
Okay. So, active bias is easy to see, right? Or it's easy to feel maybe that it's happening, right? Derek and I are wearing the same colors. We probably go to the same school. I was over there coaching him a minute ago what to do, and now I'm his judge, right? And immediately everybody says, well, that can't be impartial, right? That can't be, you know, he just called for that guy when the other guy clearly hit him. He's definitely biased. Or maybe he just made a bad call, right? Either way, it looks like some sort of active bias is happening. If you're in a situation as a judge and you know and you recognize it's actually my wife that's fencing right now, there's not really a way that I can be unbiased here, what should you probably do? Yeah, you should recuse yourself and just be honest about it, right? Me and this guy have known each other since we were like 2. I don't want anything bad to happen to him. I've been telling him all weekend he's gonna win this whole thing. I can't be his judge. It's not fair, right? Because even if, not only is it not fair, it's also not fair to that fencer, right? My wife is out there fighting, she's doing her best, she's killing it, but she's kind of losing. Maybe she comes and she pushes ahead at the end, but I was one of her judges. What does she think happened?
We got carried.
She got carried. What does everybody else maybe think might have happened? Same thing, right? That's not fair. Even if I'm maybe the best judge, most qualified person for it at that time, if I know that active bias is happening, it should be honored and celebrated in our community that, hey Derek, I don't feel comfortable judging for this person due to circumstances. Is that okay? Okay, I'm ready over here for the next one when you need me, okay? And that's good enough, right? I don't even have to go into an explanation. Does that make sense? Passive bias then is more subtle. What is passive bias?
Like just subconscious.
Ego.
Ego for who? Subconsciously, ego for who? Huh?
Your own interpretation.
Celebrities. Maybe this person that's fencing is famous, and they should win, right? Something crazy happened, not really sure what happened, but I'm like, well, Charles is the best fencer here, so I should probably just raise my hand for Charles, right? Unfortunately, it happens a lot, especially if it's somebody that you respect, you admire, you like the way that they fence, and maybe this other person over here, you don't like them the way that they fence as much, right? That type of bias is something that you can actually train out of yourself. Not the same thing as active bias. It's a passive bias, something we need to recognize and be aware of, and that we can train to deal with when it occurs. What else could be passive bias? We kind of talked about it a second ago with the booze. Yeah, right? Like if he's the ref over here, and he says halt, you tell him to halt. Halt. Good. He tells him to halt, and I'm looking What is it that I'm looking for? The fighting stopped. What am I looking for? Answers. Yeah. Who am I looking for answers from? Anybody else to take responsibility off of myself. The fighters, the judges. This guy's pissed off. He's walking back to the line, you know, like, I can't believe they told me to halt right there. This guy's over here celebrating loudly, you know, like fist pumping and jumping up and down. Who do I think won? Is that reality? Not necessarily, right? Maybe it is, but pretty good chance it's not. Or there's some sort of bias being inflicted on me. Here's the thing. Unfortunately, fencers are also subject to this same type of mentality and bias. As he's over here celebrating, or being angry, or whatever, this person is maybe they're intimidated, or they're just not having fun. If this is this important to you, maybe you do deserve to win, right? Maybe they start giving in, or even a little bit more insidious. Maybe he gives away his points. Maybe he says, "Oh, that was a really good shot, excellent, good job, good work," as he's walking back to the line. Now we could interpret that as camaraderie, right? He's celebrating him. That's a good thing, right? But what else is it? What else is he doing by saying it? Huh?
He could just be throwing.
He could be throwing the fight. What else is he doing then? It's a 10-round fight. This was 1 round. What is he doing? He's influencing who? The judges. The other fencer, the judges, all of his other matches. Because he's the nice guy, right? He's the cool guy. He's the guy that you want to be friendly with. And you want to have a good match with, right? He is influencing the overall culture of the event and what it is that's happening. Sometimes that can be okay, but it is something that a referee or a judge should put some control and constraints around. Hey, please limit your celebration, calm down a little bit. Or not allowing them to throw out points, that type of thing, depending on the event. It is something you should be aware of, though, as a passive bias. Fencers will try to inflict passive bias, sometimes knowingly, sometimes not knowingly, right? Like they don't even really understand what it is that they're doing. They're buying credit.
Good honor.
So, if we recognize these things exist, we've talked about active bias. Active bias is something that we can recuse ourselves. That's pretty easy. Just back down. How do we deal with passive bias? What can you do? Any thoughts?
You were talking about like just looking at the floor.
Yes, right? Not talking to the fighters, being professional all the time, not letting them influence you, not being influenced by the other judges, right?
Recognize the bias first.
Absolutely. Recognize it's there, and then it might be influenced on you, right? When I see this happen in the fight, I immediately put my head down. I'm rewinding it in my head. I'm thinking about what just happened in the fight, and then I've made my decision. My decision is, it might be right, it might be wrong, but at least it's just my decision. It's not influenced by him, by them, by anybody else. There's another trick too, though. Has anybody in here ever played a fighting game before? What? Has anybody played? I don't know. Give me a fighting game.
Hellish Court?
Soul Calibur. What did you say? Hellish Court.
Yes.
Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
Steel Gear.
Who has a favorite fighter in Street Fighter? Who's your favorite fighter? Just say it.
Definitely Cal.
Ken? Who?
Dudley.
Who?
Dudley.
Dudley?
You
When somebody else is playing as Ken, you don't really care if Ken wins or not. If Ken doesn't win, it's not Ken's fault. Whose fault is it?
Player.
The player, right? These are not people when they're fencing. What are they? They're fencers. A fencer, B fencer, right? They are being controlled by the hands of fate or whatever, right? I have no care whatsoever who Charles is or what school he's from or what it is I like or don't like about him. That doesn't enter into the equation at all. He's just Ken, right? Ken wins or loses, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't matter. That is a difficult mindset to achieve, but the more that you can distance yourself from it and you can look at them as some sort of external entity in that respect, the easier it is to go through and remove all sense of bias from you, that it matters whether they're successful or not. And if you find that you start slipping into that it does matter, like, man, the thing he did was really cool just a second ago, I kind of hope this guy wins now. You have to be able to recognize that in yourself, roll that back, right? That is not what's important. That you just watch this person fight 3 or 4 times and they're really kicking butt. Doesn't matter. Shouldn't matter. Let's move on. I could talk about bias for like 8 hours. I'm sorry. Is this too boring? Is this silly? No? Okay. Yeah, okay. Good. So, let's get back to it. As a judge, is critical to whom? Everybody. Who specifically? The fencers versus brackets. I mean, they have stake in this. They want to win. They both put a lot of energy and time and money into being here. They need professional, good judges, right? Who else is it important to? The other judges, the culture within the officiating staff, right? Who else? The event itself. They need to know that they can put faith in you to go through and be this. They don't care who it is that wins overall or what the outcome is. They're not trying to dictate the event. They're saying, we need impartial staff to go and do a job. We're here to do a job, to be successful at this job, whatever this, however they define that criteria, right? Judging as an institution in itself is critical that you're professional, in that if I know Derek, and Derek is coming up to the line, and as Derek's coming up, I'm like, hey man, good matchup. And I walk back as a judge, I've just blown all professionalism, right? All the bias that we talked about, the culture, not just of he and our friendship shouldn't have anything to do with this match, right? But everybody else around us now potentially there's cracks in this event that have occurred just from that simple thing. Let me give you, that's a very obvious example. Let me give you another one. Where are my judges at? You my judge? My judge? My overseers again? You are and you are. Okay. Watch them again, same things. Let's see if they've improved. Fencers ready? Judges ready?
Ready? Right.
Engage. Move around a little more. Move around a little more. Nobody's even attacking. Well, that was good. That was good. Yeah, halt. Judges. Okay. Overseers, pass or fail? Pass all 3? Pass. Excellent.
Were your comments intentional?
Yes. My comments, whether I'm the judge or the ref, does that seem professional? Why is that not professional?
You're telling offenders what to do.
What it is that I'm looking for, right? I'm celebrating them, I'm scolding them. How is that impacting them, or how's that impacting you? How is that not professional?
An external force that's influencing the flow of the fight entirely.
Absolutely.
We were a bank, yes.
Yeah, and they were listening, right?
You threw it, spoken with.
How many times have you ever been at an event and you hear stuff like, we gotta clean it up, guys. You gotta clean it up. Or, we need to see better than that. You guys gotta, I know you two can do better than that, right? And then what do those 2 fencers do when they go back out there?
Something aside from how they would normally fight.
Yeah, they're doing what they think dad wants, right? What they think everybody else wants, right? This isn't about what everybody else wants. It's about them and their performance. And that's exactly what we all expect going into it. That's what we want, right? If I suck, I suck. Just, let me suck. Telling them they need to thrust harder, telling them that looked really tippy, whatever. Those kind of comments, if they were to happen, like if you were to try to give an example of, for example, no, you're fine. Hey, that was really good, but when you're moving your feet around like that, you're really leaving them open. Try and always keep your point on the outside his, okay? That type of comment is extremely unprofessional when done outside. It can be easily contained by the reason that we didn't call your shot was this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I've not influenced the other fencer. He doesn't know if I just gave this person a warning. He doesn't really know what I said to him. He knows now specifically why it is that it looked like it was flat. I'm sorry, we're not gonna call it, right? It wasn't good quality. It wasn't whatever criteria we might be looking for. Yes, sir.
Those kinds of explanations, how does that bring in with influencing the fight as a whole? If they're fighting messy, shouldn't that be allowed?
It should. Let me tell you, the number one responsibility of the ref versus the judges is safety. The referee is responsible for the safety of the fencers and the control of the environment that they're in. The judges and the referee is the overall arbiter of who scored, who didn't, was it good or was it bad? Yeah, sure. But the judges really are for that. The referee should be paying attention to the climate, the intensity, the validity of the things that are happening. If this person is losing their cool and endangering this other person because he is frustrated, my responsibility is to stop, walk over, give him either some sort of verbal warning or let him know he's getting out of hand, he's getting out of control, he needs to pull it down a little bit. That is very different than doing that in the middle of their fight, out in the open where everybody else can hear it. Including, he walks back to the line, he's like, I can't believe they didn't call that shot that I did. If he doesn't care and he doesn't react, I'm probably not going to say anything to him. But for the safety of both fencers, the safety of the event, I may need to stop the fight, walk over and give him a very brief, clear explanation on, you did strike him on the head. The judges and I felt that it was flat. And walk back, and that's it. And allow him to go through and process that. Now, if he's frustrated, who is he frustrated with? Himself or yeah, the judges for not seeing it, right? Who's he not as frustrated with? The fence, who he is actively swinging the sword at, right? Does that make sense? It is a balance, right? You do have to kind of balance and walk that line, and that's what the ref should really be responsible for. The judges should not be paying attention to that or responsible for it. They, as far as we're concerned, they're that piece of electronics that we were talking about. They're automatons, right? They don't have any feelings. All they're doing is watching what it is that's happening and giving us a valid reading one way or the other. That's their whole responsibility. Everything else is on the ref. Another skill for judges that's important, because we are kind of running out of time, but I think this is important to say, is loudness and clarity. We'll talk about both judges, for the judges and the ref. Overseers, I gave you one of your criteria that was in regards to loudness and clarity was what?
They're responding to their ready.
Yes, them responding to ready, right? When I say fighters, are you ready? The fighters, I don't care really what they do as long as they look like they're ready, they're fine. But the judges, when I say judges, are you ready? What do I need from them?
To know we're ready.
To know you're paying attention, you're ready to go. To sound off and let the fighters know it's about to start, that it's on, right? Fighters, are you ready?
Ready.
Judges, are you ready?
Ready.
They should sound off at the same tone that they're going to say point or halt or whatever to, right? As we're going, if they're whispering it or they're not saying it at all, I need to know that they're engaged, they're alive, they're awake. Judge fatigue is 100% a thing. The more often you're rotating judges and allowing them to rest and think, getting a break, taking time to do what they need to do, and then coming back in, the better, right? But in the moment, I need to know that they're alive and they're awake. Dario, you're a judge. Judge ready?
Ready.
Is Dario ready or not? Yeah, it sounds okay, right? He's here. What's your name? Huh? Hiram? Hiram, are you ready?
Right.
He's not ready. Friends, are you ready?
Ready.
Friends, ready. Okay. For a referee, there are other things that need to happen. Saying ready is one thing. How do I let the fencers know that it's time to fight?
Another verbal cue.
A verbal cue, sure.
Standard verbal cue.
Standardized verbal cue is great. What?
Getting out of the way.
Sure. Sure. Nothing you're saying is wrong. What are they wearing on their heads?
Are the judges ready?
Yes, but what are the fencers wearing on their heads? Fencing. Oh, that cover their ears, right? Is there anybody here hard of hearing? Okay. Both sides or one side? Both sides?
Process and problems.
Okay. Do auditory cues help you at all? Like, what's the percentage?
They help, but if I'm listening for a word, the word can kind of just blend in, but if it's just the sound.
Right.
So are you talking about visual cues?
Visual, physical cues are almost as important as an auditory cue. Giving them some sort of physical signal that it's on, right? They need to be able to see whether it's with a stick, it's with my hands, if it's that I do a jig in the middle of the fight and I stop the jig. Either way, they need to be able to process, and I don't know these people, they need to be able to process that it has begun, right? Typically, for a referee standpoint, moving to the middle of the ring so that both can see him, he can see them. He makes a gesture in the middle saying, it's about to start, ready, and go. They know, right? Even if they couldn't hear me, they're able to visually see what it is that's going on. And we give the auditory cue, of course, as well, so that they, even if they can't physically see it, or maybe they don't have that, maybe they're visually impaired and they're wearing, do you have issues wearing your mask with your glasses?
Yeah, it kind of squishes them when I put them on.
Yeah. It goes both ways, right? It is important to go through and do both. You never really know the other person's circumstance. It's very important that they are both aware. The judges and the ref can help control that, and again, help lower that sense of frustration. Were you gonna say something? Any thoughts? Pretty obvious, I guess. This will seem very obvious, but I bet you either you've been coached or been to an event or had something happen where it is the opposite. If they have big heavy spez gloves on right now and they're fencing, and I hear the sound of that plastic crankling together, does that mean that somebody got hit?
Yeah, potentially.
Maybe. Potentially. No. Right? Like 50% and lower chance, probably, right? What actually does it tell me? Like in an auditory sense, hearing that hard plastic hit against something, what does that tell me for sure? There was contact or something. There was some sort of contact, physical contact against that glove. Is that enough to go through and say that he struck that glove?
No.
It's enough for the glove, but not just be a glove.
Apply that to knee protection, apply that to a scrape across the mask. If you didn't see it, it didn't happen.
Lack of protection.
Right. If they're turned in a certain way, again, it's very important that you frame like the camera is watching, so if you're able to see. All of our judges did a really good job of that. I think that's excellent. But if they're swinging, he ducks out of the way and I hear, but I was behind him and didn't see what it is that happened, I should not call anything at that point, unless I'm the ref and I'm calling for safety for some reason. Otherwise, that should continue. Is that different than what you've been told or coached or taught in the past? Have you ever been told to strike, if you hear hit to the gloves, then it counts? No?
I've been told there was no sound, so you did not hit it.
Same thing.
I've heard only in reference to, let's say there's a sound and he sees it, and I can say that I heard the sound.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I've had it pop up when there was like a failure of conclusion on impasse. It's like, I don't know if you quite got the hand, and then one judge is like, well, I did hear.
I did hear.
You know, Snagglefish, they told us sounds don't count.
Sounds should not count. Good, that's right. I don't believe sounds should count. I think there are too many incidents where your glove hits your quillions as you're doing something. There are too many incidents where you caught it mostly on the sword, and then as the person's passing, they run into your glove, something happens there. I don't think it's a valid strike to go through and call if you didn't actually see contact with the weapon. Something else to watch for visually with the weapons. I want you to strike Charles in the leg because he deserves it.
Those other one, yeah.
What's the good one?
This is this one over here. It's still there. I'll show you later.
Okay, we're back. Is that a valid strike or not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Why was it a valid strike?
I saw it.
You can see it happen, right? Right. Why else was it valid? Huh? Good edge alignment. How fast are they moving?
Not even half speed.
Not even half speed, like 20%, maybe 10. Okay. So, they're moving slow. We're able to observe good edge alignment. What's our confidence if they move as fast as they can dynamically in a fencing competition that we're going to be sure that that's good edge alignment? Why is that?
They're moving faster than your eyes can actually see.
The sword point and the weak of the weapon is moving faster than your eyes can see, typically, especially at longer ranges. A one-arm strike to the leg is about as far of a range as it could possibly be. Watching the tip of that weapon or the weak of the weapon to see if it's valid is very difficult. I'm not going to say impossible, it's very difficult. Instead, I should look at what? Do I just guess? We're ready to make contact so it happened, I guess? Absolutely. Absolutely. So watch again. One arm strike, please. So, good strike, bad strike? Bad strike. This time, instead of watching the tip of the weapon, we watch towards the quillions. What do we see about the quillions specifically? They're straight up and down, right? Any sort of horizontal cut where the quillions are up and down, or even, I'll say, canted to the side a little bit, it's probably not a good shot. You can almost bet on it, right? He swings towards Charles' shoulder, and I see, go ahead, that sort of turn. In my mind, if this hits him, great, but really all I'm looking for is this. If I see that this is turned this way, with that motion of the blade, it is not a valid strike. And it is much easier to call because it's close to his hand. If I see the contact and I'm looking at the quillions, I can more reliably call what it is that's going on. Because again, that weapon, it may pass right by, it may be moving very quickly in and out. Let me give you another example. With thrusts, and you've probably heard this, maybe not, what do I need to look for to determine if the thrust is valid? The sword bends, okay? But the referee's number one responsibility is what? Safety. It would seem kind of contrary, right? Can you have a thrust without a sword bending?
Absolutely.
Absolutely you can, right? Have you ever been on the receiving end of that person who bends their sword almost in half trying to thrust you? Totally unnecessary. Instead, there are other things I should look for besides the sword thrust. What else could be bent that tells me if this is a good thrust or not?
The arms of the thruster.
Absolutely. Show me. So, okay, good. His arms, his elbows are bent. He's almost making contact with the thrust. I don't have to look at the sword at all, even if, or pull your posture in. Even if, go back, even if he doesn't run this guy through, As far as we're concerned, that's a good thrust, right? Shouldn't let him get that close. Doesn't have to flex his blade totally on him. His arms were bent. He still had plenty of room to spring, unwind, finish that thrust, make contact, and he chose not to. He probably could have bent his sword in half. And if I continue as the referee to allow frustrations to escalate, or I don't call that shot, that is what starts to happen. Reckless endangerment of the other fencer begins to happen, especially at the higher levels of elims, semifinals, finals. That stuff happens a lot more frequently. What else should I look for? Bent elbows, what else?
Openings, like if it was clear, like that is swinging his hand, thrust.
Sure, yeah.
Was the person's structure broken?
Yeah.
How
So
so?
like, man, if I extend into a thrust and it breaks its structure, then
Yeah.
it's clear that I applied some kind of pressure
Yes.
to him in a way that broke his structure and made it fall back.
So, I would go a step further and say, it's not just his structure, it is the movement itself. If he was moving in, and he puts his sword up, and he starts to thrust me, go ahead and act like it's me. He starts to thrust me as I move in, he thrusts me. If he starts to thrust me as I move away, did he thrust me? Hard to tell, hard to tell. So what is it I'm looking at instead? If that part fails me because of the movement of the other fencer, then what am I looking for on the person who did the thrust?
Prolonged contact.
Not necessarily, he could just be holding the position. What else? What are you talking about?
If his structure broke, like bent arms.
Yeah, if he's got bent arms, he could have moved forward. He started to move forward and stopped. He had plenty of range to do so. Show me your maximum lunge. Okay, right. The other person may be moving back, and it may be a full extension at that point. If he starts to extend his point into the thrust, and the other person is moving away from it, go ahead. Not a valid thrust. Why is this not? Why was that not a valid thrust?
No energy imparted.
Yeah, right? His arms are fully extended. His body is fully extended into position. He has nowhere left to go, and the other person is moving away from him. Not a valid thrust. I don't need to see the sword nearly break to call it a good quality attack. Right? We're 1 minute over. The last thing I would say, because there's probably like 2 days worth of discussion on this topic, the last thing I would say is practice individually and as a group with your school, just like we did tonight with some of these games and scenarios, giving each other things that you're specifically working on, maybe the thing you've been working on this week or this month at your school or your club, doing that, saying, we're working on this one particular aspect of fencing. Judges, we're watching for these handful of things, right? Upping that ability for the judges to go through and recognize those elements in the fight improves their skills as a fencer, both because of the observational awareness, understanding what's happening, and then being able to predict when the other person's trying to do it to them. Well, I've seen this before. I've never experienced it myself, but I've seen other people do it as I was watching them do it while I was judging. Judge certification should absolutely be a thing. If your school doesn't do it, or your region doesn't do it, or you want more information, reach out to me. I'll be happy to send you anything that we have to help you get started, or to help you get certified even in our program if that's what you guys want to do. But it should be a thing, because we should be able to say, he's a fantastic judge. And I know that he trains, he knows exactly what to look for. He's been through this regimen of questions, and skill training. He does it every single week. He takes it seriously like a job because he's trying to elevate the community. And we're confident he's certified, he can come in, he can do this thing. He's great for it. And that should really be something that we're all trying to attain to do. But don't take my word for it. Any questions? Anything else? I hope it was useful and interesting, maybe give you something to think about. Maybe a little different than ours.
So there's different kinds.
Thank you, everybody.